Hey, welcome back to the channel. So we got a new mail from the developer. Gundam GQ just released like episode something. I don't know. I am not watching that, but and they give us a free SSR pilot again. So now we have Duke's Murasame, and we're gonna analyze this pilot in this video. But first of all, do not forget to go to the scout here because they also released this guy here, Gates Kappa. So do not miss this guy. You can develop this guy in that unit development. So not unit scout unit scout. Yes, you can scout him in the unit scout. So do not miss him. So we get actually two new units tonight. So we're gonna analyze both of them. We're gonna take a look and where you can use them or whether they are worth using or not. So this Murasame, the character skill is accuracy increased by 100% and reduce damage taken by 15%. So accuracy is not really that important. Like it's very rare for you to miss, but and also when you are missing your attack, you can just redo the battle because most of the time, you know, most of the time when you are actually using a Gundam that have miss is when you are doing your PvE stages where you require certain tech units or something, so you are forced to not use your UR units. But if it is a UR units, then their EX skill is mostly absolute hit. It will never miss. So you don't actually need this. So this is, a little bit useless. And so the one that has value is actually only the Force Guard. Now this one, every single other tanker have this skill. Now, not all of them, but most of them. Now we're gonna go to the abilities. So this ability is standard, support defense level 3, cyber new type level 3. This is actually a really good ability, but it is in the wrong hand right now. Because when you are increasing MP, it increases your vigor, the one with you have max vigor, supercharge, blah blah blah, all those things. That one increases your damage output. But this is a tank. So you don't actually need to deal damage to your enemy. You already deal low damage anyway. What you want is more survivability. So this is a really good ability, but in the hands of an attacker or a supporter. Not in a tank. So next, affinity mobile armor level 2. This one increase damage dealt by 10% and reduce damage taken by 10%. And these are all the units that you can use. So not many options in here, and among these, that the ones that this pilot can use is just the Gundam, Psycho Gundam MK3 and also Psycho Gundam and then Valhalla. Aside from that, we do have Narrative Gundam, but obviously if you have Narrative Gundam, then you better off just use Jonabasta. And then the next one is all these, the SR units, the Psycho Gundam MK2, blah 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 blah, but they are not worth taking. The only ever notable unit in here is just Psycho Gundam MK3, Psycho Gundam, and Valhalla in here. So among these, Psycho Gundam is the best one just because it has the eye field. This one reduces damage taken by 40% against beam range weapons, so damage mitigation is very important. Imagine if you get hit by 100,000 damage from your enemy, this thing will reduce that damage by 40,000, which end up giving you 60,000 damage, and you definitely gonna survive that attack. So this one also have the diffuse mega particle cannon, which reduces the enemy's attack down by 20% in the range 1 to 4. So it is a really good tank. You have an attack down in with 4 range. So the Psycho Gundam MK3 is actually kind of like a downgrade compared to the Psycho Gundam itself. It doesn't have the eye field anymore. So as a tank, it doesn't have a damage mitigation, which gonna end up making him quite paper, even though he has a really high defense, especially if you fight against Mobile Suit Gundam Double Z species. And in return, then this one has the highest attack down debuff in the game. But the problem is that the range is only 1 to 2 square away from you. So if you leave this to AI, they will very rarely use this ability. And if you control it yourself, you're gonna need to get close and personal to your enemy in order to just use this. The enemy will definitely counter-attack you if this happens. So yeah, it is okay, it is good in terms of the attack down debuff, but as a tank, this is kind of not a tank. So that's why for this pilot, the Psycho Gundam is its best choice. But then again, there's a much better option compared to this guy, this pilot. So I'm not gonna level this one up, and also like I said, the accuracy is useless. And then we're gonna go to this guy, the Gauge Kappa. So Gauge Kappa character skill has the increased critical rate by 20%, which is really good if you use him in a unit that have a critical damage bonus in their weapon skill. So in this game, units have a critical damage increase in their weapon skill, but their critical rate is still the same. The only way you can increase their critical rate in order to make use of that critical damage bonus is by using a pilot that have a boost in critical rate like this guy. So this guy will definitely be good if you pair him with a unit that has a critical damage bonus in their weapon skill. Now going to the ability here, it increases own damage dealt by 10%. And again, the Cyber New Type. Now this one is good in an attacker pilot because at the very beginning of the battle, you already have high vigor, which also gonna increase your damage output. Now this guy have the affinity of 13. Oh yeah, for those of you who doesn't believe me in the MP increase and also the vigor, you can just go here into the help and go to the battle, and there is vigor and MP in here. So you can go here and see vigor causes a change in character stats during battle based on MP value. Vigor increases the damage dealt during attacks, and that's it. It doesn't increase your survivability. So the only pilots that get benefit from that are the ones that are riding an attacker or at least a supporter units. So this one is good, the Gauge Kappa is good for having that one, but the Duke's Murasame is not. Now we're gonna go to the affinity, which units can be used for him to pilot. So among these, again, Zeta Gundam, you better off just use Camille Bidan for this. Now the Zeta Gundam here is quite okay. There is also this regenerate Gundam, and then Epion and Wing Gundam, then the Zeta Gundam. These are all the good Gundams that you can use, but none of them has a critical damage bonus in their weapon skills. So we're gonna take a look and find the one that actually have a critical damage in their skill. Now, let me see. I think Regenerate Gundam have. Let me see. Oh no, Regenerate Gundam doesn't have. Now this guy, yeah, this guy I think it has. Yeah, increase critical damage by 10%, but it has a range of 1 and the power is also only 3100, so you better off not using this Gundam. So among this list, the best one for you to choose is actually this one, S Gundam. This is the best SSR unit in this game because it has high attack from its ability, while also his weapon skill have high power and increase its critical damage. But because it has a normal value of critical rate, so if you do want to maximize this Gundam, you do need a critical rate pilot to pilot this Gundam, which is this guy in here. But then again, you better off just use an SSR or a UR pilot to pilot that S Gundam, because a pilot cannot be SP conversion. So you will stuck with only level 80 pilot, and you cannot limit break this pilot because there is no duplicate for pilot. So if you want to choose your pilot, it is better to just as high rarity as you can to go for the one with the higher rarity, because you cannot level them up further, and also the number of skill and ability is limited. The lower they are in rarity, the less ability and skills that they have. So this one can be your temporary pilot to pilot the S Gundam, but you better off just choose another pilot that have a critical rate skill instead of using him. So both of them are so-so, not really good, not as good as the one that we had previously. Like Nyan is really good. This one, it has the character skill of MP up while also increasing critical rate and also the ability increase own damage dealt and then melee and then this one increase damage dealt when you are riding the mobile suit Gundam GQs. Now, the best one obviously for her is this one, the Gundam GQ. The GQ, this one, oh my god, Psycho. Now, but she can also ride the S Gundam because of this critical rate, you see. So this one is a much better option. And for me, personally, if I choose a pilot, when I'm choosing a pilot, the one that I put very high value is the one with this MP up skill. Because the vigor, the supercharge, gives you 30% bonus damage output. So if you can have that supercharge from the very beginning of the battle, you can deal high damage from the very beginning of the battle throughout until the end of the battle. Because as long as you keep attacking your enemy and avoiding their attack, you will never get your tension down. And you will stay at supercharge and you will always get that bonus damage. So this is very important, and especially if I pilot something like Big Zam. So most of the time when I'm using my Big Zam, I use my Setsuna here because Setsuna have both the character skill of MP up and the ability of MP up. So from the very beginning of the battle, Setsuna only need to cast this MP up once. You can cast this multiple times until you reach supercharge, you know. So, but for Setsuna, you only need to cast this once, and you already at max supercharge vigor. Then you can also increase its attack burst, increase damage dealt to enemies by 20%. So if I need to clear the enemy using my map attack, whether it is from Gundam Astray, the Golden Frame, or Big Zam, I always use my Setsuna to deal as much damage as possible, clear out all those enemies, like a lot of them from the very beginning of the battle. Because sometimes you do not deal enough damage, like they're all left with so low HP if you still doesn't have enough damage on your Gundam. So this really helps a lot, this vigor. So that's why I focus more on the pilot with the MP up ability. And then the next one that I value the most in my pilot is the range increase. Now the range increase is very important because when you have high range, that means that you're gonna be able to avoid getting counterattacked by your enemy. So among all these units, pilots, I already favorite them. The one that have a range increase is the ones that I mark with favorite. Because when you are choosing your pilot, you have three types: attacker, supporter, and tank. Now, for the attacker, you do want to have them as high rarity as possible because, like I said just now, you cannot increase their level further. Like you cannot SP conversion them to level 100. So you're gonna stuck, if you use SR pilot, you're gonna stuck with a level 80 pilot, and they definitely not gonna deal higher damage than your UR pilot or even SSR pilot. So as a DPS, you do want to have them at highest rarity as possible. But for the other one, for a supporter and tank, for supporter, sometimes they also need to do damage, but sometimes they also need to put their debuff on the enemy. Same thing for the tank. You need to put the attack down debuff on your enemy. So when you are fighting against a stronger enemy, they definitely not gonna die in one hit, while you still need to survive getting counterattacked by them. But because they deal so much damage, so it's better that you choose a unit that can hit from 5 squares away and then increase that range by 1, so you hit them from 6 squares away. That will guarantee that right now there's not a single a unit that can hit from 6 squares away. Hence why you can avoid getting hit altogether if you increase their range. So all these units, all these pilot is the one that I mark are the ones that at least have the range increase or the MP up ability. Like this one, Yan is the one with the MP up. So this one also, Kouraki, is the one with the MP up. This one has the range. Yeah, this one has the range. Look at this. So those are the how I choose my pilot. And because you know, if you want to put debuff like defense down, special weapon damage taken up, beam weapon damage taken up, physical damage taken up, you want to keep that up as long as possible, you know. So definitely you do want to survive, but you don't really need to deal damage to your enemies. And I need 10 of them, 10 pilots to increase their range. So yeah, I have a lot of options here. I already marked them all. So you can just go through all these pilots and just mark the ones that you actually need or like. So yeah, that's basically how I choose my pilot. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.